The British Prime Minister is blaming gangs, BlackBerry phones and even social networks for inciting the violence in the country. David Cameron's also said parts of society are sick, but locals in the affected areas say they've been neglected by the government for years. Well, with a sense of insecurity growing on the streets, people are now forced to take matters into their own hands, as Laura Emmett reports from London.
England is our country!
A warning to looters. If you come out to Enfield tonight, you'd better be in disguise. At the first sign of trouble, this is what happens. Around 500, mainly young men, chase down the road after police, ready to drive troublemakers out of town. Despite the mob atmosphere, a large crowd of young men are out for justice. There's been no trouble so far. Most are ordinary people out to protect their communities.
A lot of people are here to help. There obviously are some people that are going to do the opposite effect, but you're going to get that everywhere pretty much.
Just out here protecting our streets. I've got young children. I don't want my children on the streets while all this is happening.
If there's not enough police, then we'll help them out and just get everyone away, just look after all the shops and that and just push them away basically.
We don't want to go after anyone or cause any trouble. We just want to make sure that no one comes into our town and starts smashing shops up and looting and rioting.
And it's not just in Enfield. In other parts of town, Sikhs have banded together to protect their livelihoods and property.
Sons and daughters come together with us and say, let's solve out the problems without undue violence and causing distress to each other, which then takes it onto a further level, causing further violence and distress.
This is the current face of communities across England, many of which felt under siege from looters and said in their darkest hour the police were nowhere to be seen.
Police have not been anywhere. Where are the police? If the police were here, do you think all that would have been done?
Maybe this is what David Cameron means when he talks constantly about the big society, handing power and responsibility back to local communities.
And I think the scenes we all saw on our television screens last night of communities coming together in Birmingham to try and stop violence taking place was a model of how these things should be done.
That despite the fact that 3 young Asian men were killed in Birmingham early on Wednesday trying to protect local businesses. Looters allegedly rammed them with a car. The tragedy ignited anger in the Asian community. A vigilante band attracts all sorts, and a mob mentality doesn't just rear its head in looters. There's a huge number of police officers on the streets of England at the moment, which many find reassuring. But groups like the Enfield Army prove that communities still feel police are unable to protect them. And with budget cuts for frontline officers still on the table, bobbies on the beat could get fewer and further between, while local vigilante groups could take up the slack. Laura Emmett, RT, London.